Welcome to this short video on using OneDrive. It forms part of Module 3 of the e-Educator programme in Southern Regional College. My name is Chris Evans. I'm Curriculum Area Manager in SRC. So we're going to begin this learning object by looking at the content and the learning objectives that we're going to cover. So first of all, I'm going to give you an overview of what OneDrive is. We're going to look at where to find it. We're going to look at how to create a folder structure within it. We'll look at how to upload individual files, how to share them, and how to collaborate with them. Then we're going to look at how to download files and folders. We're going to look at the key menu options and what they mean. And then we're going to finish off with a summary and the next steps in the e-Educator program. OneDrive is a Microsoft product that forms part of Office 365. It's a cloud-based service that allows you to store your files. So as well as storing them, you can protect them from being erased accidentally. You can share them and collaborate with other Microsoft users within the college. And it allows you to access your files on almost any device from anywhere you can get a stable internet connection. So we're going to take a look here at the icon so we can identify OneDrive. As you can see on the screen now, it's a blue stylized cloud, and that's the icon that represents OneDrive. And as I mentioned before, OneDrive is part of Office 365, so the other icon we need to get to know is the red open square of OneDrive. The older versions sort of look at it face on, but the latest version sort of represents a view sort of from a side-on perspective. So now you know what OneDrive is, the next thing you're going to need to know is where to find it. So on the main college webpage, you'll look to the top bar and you'll see that Office 365 icon in red. You click that and that will take you through to a page where you have all the different Office 365 apps. So with Outlook right through to Microsoft Forms. So you'll see the third one from the left is OneDrive. Now on that page, you'll also see recommended files and recent files that you may have worked on before. There's also a section at the very bottom that shows you recent folders you may have worked on from OneDrive or SharePoint, and a link to OneDrive. But I'm going to go back up to the top of the page and I'm going to use the OneDrive icon. So the next thing I'm going to do is to click on my OneDrive and to show you my own OneDrive for work. So you can see there's already a number of folders set up, and what I would strongly recommend before you even start thinking of uploading any files, etc., is you create a file system. Creating a file is very, very simple. If we go up to the bar here, we have a number of different prompts, and if we go to New, if we click on that for a second, it'll give us a number of options to create different files, etc. But we're going to go with a folder here, so I'm going to create a folder, and I'm just going to call this training, for example. Now, the more specific you give the folder title, the more likely you are to be able to organize your stuff well. So when I click on that, you can see it comes up right at the very top. So at the moment, it's sorted by name, but you can also sort, once you get a number of folders and files, you can sort them by various different things. So you can sort by name. If you want to put them A to Z, you just click there. A to Z, you can see. Goes A to Z down, or when they were modified. So we can go the newest ones first. See, for example, if you're trying to find that folder you were working in the other day, or you can check and see who they're modified by. Now, odds are in your OneDrive it will just be modified by you. But again, you can look at file size, you can look at by sharing as well. All these different things for setting up a file structure. So now we have created our folder called training. I'm going to show you how you can upload and bring files in there. So I'm going to click on that folder first to get inside it, because this is where I want to put all my information. If I want to put more folders in there, I can go up to New. I can click on there again. I can put another folder within that. Or if I want to, I can create a document directly in there. So I'll do that just for a second with a Word document. We'll click on that. And I'm just going to type a few characters in there. So that's done that. You'll see it's saving. And now I'm going to close that again. Let's assume I've worked on that document for a wee while. I can close it off. And if I wait here patiently for a few moments and possibly go out and back in again, we'll see hopefully in a second or so we should come up with the file. And now the file has come up It's called document at this point because I haven't given it a name, but to give it a name, you can see there's this little three dots menu, and if I click on that, it gives me some options, so I can open it, I can preview it, share it, copy link, etc. But also if I go down here to rename, I can click on that and I can call it whatever I want to call it. So I can call it test in this case, and I'll hit rename, and you can see it comes up. So it's nice and simple, so I can put files in that way if I want to. However, if I want to upload a file to that, it works a little bit differently. So I've clicked on the free space here, and that has come back now to give me these menu options again. So we have new. Well, the next one we're going to look at is upload. So I'm now going to upload a file to this. So you can drag and drop. If you have more than one screen, or you're working two windows on the one screen, you can drag and drop. But if I go down the little drop down, we can do files. We can put a whole file in one, or file at one at a time, or we can actually go for a folder. So I'm going to be adventurous here. I'm going to try and bring in a file first. So I'm going to go just into my little dialog box. I'm going to go into my desktop. I'm going to go to recordings. I'm going to open up my recording one, and in it comes. Simple as that. If I want to put a folder in, I'm going to do exactly the same now. Go and click on folder, and I should be able to go to desktop again, and I'm going to go to recordings, and I'm going to upload that. And this is saying we'll take 3 files, all the rest of it. So they're going to come up now any second, hopefully. And there's my recordings, and if I go inside that, there are my 3 files. So very, very simple, very straightforward in terms of how to navigate. And talking of navigation as well, you might notice as well we have what's called a breadcrumb trail here. So I know a lot of people will sort of think, oh, we'll press the back button, etc., to go backwards, but you don't need to. If you want to go back to the next level to training, you can just click there. Or if you want to skip all that and go straight back to files, click there you go. It takes us right back to that main menu. So that's the basics of how to upload files. So for this section, I'm going to show you now how you can use one of the more powerful parts of OneDrive, how you can share your folders. Now, why might you want to share a folder? Well, quite often you may wish to have people to have the ability to see something you've been working on. You may wish them to have read-only access where they can't make any changes. Or you may also want to do some sort of collaborative document. It could be as part of your teaching to get the students to contribute into a table, for example, of different responses, for example, to different tasks. Or you may be working with the other team members where you require information from them, where you could, instead of sending a document around people and trying to collate it at the end, you can put a single document on, and you can ask them to input into the key bits. And one of the best things is they can all work at the same time, rather than having to wait to see, to get one out of the document before they can get in. So I'm going to show you very quickly how you can share a document. So I'm going to look at this test first of all that I created. Now you notice I'm just hovering my mouse on it, and you can see this little window pops up. This window just gives us some basic information about it. It tells me there's only been one view so far. If I'd shared it with somebody already, it would come up in here in terms of details. Right now you can see it hasn't been shared with anybody else. So it's not shared and so on. We can go in there, we can go into some more fancy stuff about properties and so on. But it will tell us the most recent activity on that. So tell me it was renamed, it was edited 15 minutes ago, and it gives you some basic information about where you can find it, etc. And you can copy the file direct link from there if you so wish. But let's say I want to share this with another member of my team. Again, I would recommend we go through those 3 dots menu again. We click on that, and then we can go down here and we can look at sharing. So I want to click that for a moment, and we'll talk about the different options that you can have. So if I want to share that, I can decide, right, can people you specify can view. If we click on that, we can actually look at some more options. We could, for example, in some versions of Outlook, we can share it with anyone with the link, but in the organization, we don't have that enabled. So we can choose either only people in SRC with the link, or people with existing access, or we can go with specific people. So I'm going to go for people within SRC with the link. Okay, so anyone potentially within an SRC email, etc., can look at that. So that could be students, for example, if they want to. And then we come down here, these other settings here. If I look, sorry, if I just go back there a second, and I go to, share. So I had said there I had picked people in SRC. If I want to allow them to edit the document, I can click on this and you'll notice that it stops them from downloading. Basically what you don't want to do is to have multiple versions on the go if people are editing. If you don't want them to be able to edit and you just want them to be able to see, so let's say for example it's a set of instructions you want students to see or whatever, you can untick that so they can't edit, but you can allow them to download. So do we want them to block the download? If we want to block the download, if we don't want them to download, just look at it. Then we can move that across here. That will stop them from downloading. But usually, if it's for read only, we're quite happy for people to download. But you can decide whichever. Now, I can apply those. And then if there are specific people I want to send this to, I can put their email addresses in there and I can add a message if you want. So I'll put in here a message, so just a test. And I'm going to send it to a couple of colleagues here. So I will send this across, oh, sorry. Try again, just a test. And I'm going to change that again, sorry, my apologies. We're not going to allow editing, we're going to block a download, and I'm going to send it to, let's see, it's the curriculum management team here, so it's sent to Matt Turner, Helen Hughes, Michelle Moore, and Michelle Coyle. And you'll see it gives me those options. So it tells me those are all those people. I then send that and they'll get a little email with a link to that, and they can't email that on to anybody else for them to go to. It could only be opened by the people that I send that link to. So I'm going to close that off for a wee second. And if I go back in and look at our details now, our details, hopefully if I close that for a second and then go back here, let me see if I go for the details at the bottom again, we should see, there we go. Now it shows me who all has access to all the different individuals you can see. So if you're not sure at any time, you can go and you can look at the details, you can see who has access. So if I again go and hover on here, you'll see at the minute, still only one view, but if anybody else now goes to view this, it will then start to come up. So again, with classroom management, quite handy if you want to be able to see, have all the students viewed that document, then that's the way you can do it through there, through OneDrive. Okay, so that's just a very quick run through how you make a file available to other people. So we've talked about sharing files. I'm now actually going to show you what it looks like. So I'm going to create an Excel file here. I'm just going to type a few columns in. So I'm going to go do columns A, B, C, and D. And then I am going to just put some borders in there, nice and simply. And I'm going to close that off for a second. And then we're going to go to the three dots to rename our book. I'm going to call this test book. And what I'm going to do is I'm now going to share this with a colleague. I am going to share it with Grania McGee. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to allow her to edit and go back to those specific people and apply that. And if I start to type in Grania's name, I see up it comes. Click on that and then hit send. So she's waiting at the other end. I've sent her a link to the file. I'm going to go and open that up. And meanwhile, we'll just wait for a second while she opens it up. And in a few seconds, once she's opened the file, we should now see her start to type in a few seconds. So there we can see Grania has come up as a little purple GM, little dots show she's working on it. So you can see just as simple as that from elsewhere in the college, she's been able to type in there. And you can use this with classes, etc., to be able to populate forms, to be able to collaborate together on information. The students can all work together and they can all see at any one time where the other people are typing into. So the possibilities of that are pretty much limitless, and it'd be a great tool for the likes of PBL for collaboration work. So now I'm going to show you how you can download individual files or a group of files. So I'm going to run my mouse along the left hand side here beside each of these files, and you see a little circle comes up. Each of those is a little toggle switch. You can switch them on and off. So I'm going to click there beside the test book file. And you'll notice at the top along all those commands, a couple of new options have come up. So one of them is download. So if I click on download, we should see down the bottom left hand corner here, it's downloading this test book file for me. If I click on that little arrow, it shows me options to open or show it in the folder, the download folder, for example. That's how you would download a file very quickly. So let's say you want to download a lot more than just the one file. Let's say I want to get all of this together now, apart from test book, into one particular download. So I can go up there beside, at the very top level of that folder, beside name, I can click on the toggle there, and that will toggle everything in there to on. I don't want the test book because I've already got it. So I want to download all of those in one batch. So I can go up again and I can hit download, and you'll see it comes in now in a zip file, or zip folder, sorry. And again, if I click there, I can show it in the folder. I can go in and see, there it is, OneDrive, and go in and have a look in there, and there are all my files, so I can get at them from there. So it's great to be able to bring them onto, say, for example, a laptop or a memory pen if you're going somewhere where you won't have internet connectivity. The downside, I would say, if you are planning to work on any of these, you will need to re-upload them. They won't automatically sync back to OneDrive. You will have to re-upload them. So I'm now going to take a quick look at the various different options around the window here. So I'm going to start on the very top right hand side here. I'm going to look at that sort. This gives you an option here. If you click on the little arrow, you can sort the contents of your folder whatever way you want. We talked before about sorting by the name, when it was modified, etc. But if you want to sort by type as well, if you have a number of different files of a type within a particular folder, you can click on that. Now, this is a folder where there's only one of each type, so maybe not the best one to show you. But if you have lots, if I go different to another one, for example, if I go to a different one here with units with, let's say, there's one there. If I go and sort by name, you can see it generates in a particular A to Z order. But if I go back to type, you can see it generates different types of files all the time. So if you're looking for a particular Word document or something like that, you can do it that way, and you can sort through fairly quickly. If I go back for a second there to my training folder, we have another one here. If we click on that, this is how you actually see your files. So you can have it on the standard list look. We can have a compact one, which is another sort of popular one. It tells you some key information there about when it was modified, who it was modified by, file size. Or another view you can have is you can have tiles as well. It's really a personal preference. I'm not a big fan of the tiles one. I like to get more information on the page. So I would tend to sort of go with the list, or alternately with the compact list, either or. I'm going to look across then to the left hand side down here. We have, you may have spotted already, My Files. If I click on that, it takes us back to the very top level of the OneDrive. So all my folders there you can see in that. If you want to find out, if you want to go back to a file that you're working on recently, a quick way of doing that without having to search through is to hit recent, and it will take you through. So you can see, obviously, I've been working on my OneDrive tutorial, so it's at the top. But yesterday, some of the documents that you'll seen, you'll recognize I have worked on. So it brings them up fairly quickly. If you're looking for a document that's either been shared with you or you've shared with other people, you can go through this shared option, and it shows there shared with me. You can look at all those ones that have been shared with me, or shared by me. I can click on that and you can see any folders that I have shared with other people in it, and also will give you a location of where you can find it and an activity in terms of who has modified it last, that sort of thing. Discover, again, these are different files that have been worked on by people at a similar level to yourself. It may be something, again, usually these are shared documents. It's something that you can sort of see very quickly what are other people working on. And then lastly, we have a recycle bin. You can go and you can click on that, and that will take anything you've deleted recently. And you can, if you need to, bring it back in again into your OneDrive, or alternatively, you can empty it altogether to get rid of your storage. So one last thing that I want to talk about is just on the top left-hand corner, we have some different options. We have the app launcher, which is this sort of square of 9 dots, and then we have the intranet through the SRC. So I'm not going to click on the SRC intranet, but I am going to click on the app launcher. And if I click on the app launcher, you can see it takes us back. We have the option then to go into all the different sort of Office 365 shortcuts there to different programs. Some of the documents we've been working on recently, but also you'll notice this little Office 365 link as well. So if we click on that, that pretty much brings us back to where we started into the overall Office 365 area, where you can see all the different apps and OneDrives in here. Last thing I'm just going to point out as well is the Install Office button. That's one that would be particularly useful if you want to install any of these at home. Very handy. So again, students would need to know about that, and so would staff, to be able to download Office at home and make full use of the software. So now you've reached the end of the instruction phase of the first part of Module 3 of the eEducator programme. So let's take a little look at what you've learned. We've given you an overview of what OneDrive is and why you might use it, shown you where to find it, how to create a folder structure, how to upload both individual files and folders, how to share individual files and folders, and we've given you a demonstration of how that access can help you collaborate on different files. We've shown you how to download files and folders either individually or as a group. We've looked at what the key menu options mean to help you get around. And what I want to talk about just for a second is the actual advantages of using this. One of the things I found is that, particularly in a working from home situation, that when you start saving your files to OneDrive, you no longer need to use your H drive and you don't need to worry about using remote desktop. The Office 365, the OneDrive, etc. all integrate seamlessly with Teams. So it means you don't have to keep going into remote desktops, for example, to email stuff to yourself. So it becomes very, very handy. And also the fact that if you work on stuff within OneDrive and Office 365, you can auto-save, etc. So no more lost documents and no issues with not being able to go onto a remote desktop. So what's your next step? Well, you'll need to complete your eEducator section assessment for this part for OneDrive, the instructions for which will be on Moodle. When you have that completed, then you can move on. There are further resources for Module 3, which have been prepared by other presenters, and they'll have assessment as well. So in the meantime, good luck with using your OneDrive and Office 365. If there are any more questions that you have, feel free to email them to me at evansc@src.ac.uk. But as I say, good luck in the rest of your assessment and the rest of the teaching year. Bye.